Good morning. This is Rachel with Infused Meadows, and I have done this video. However, I know that it was my first video, and so the camera angle was terrible to say the least. So I thought I would redo this video just to show you that, so hopefully you can see things better, and to show you that I do this every single week. I make 2-quart jars of sweetened condensed milk. Now, can you take your milk, put it on the stove, cook it down until it's like it's a little less than half of what you started out with? Yes, you can do that to make sweetened condensed. You sure can. I find this is faster and easier. So that's why I do it this way, and you still get the exact same results of sweetened condensed milk, okay? So with the blender, what I find works best is to do sugar, powdered milk, and then sugar on top. Why do I do that? Because if you do your sugar at the bottom and then add your powdered milk, when the blade starts, your powdered milk tends to fluff up, and you could end up with it all the way up here. So to keep that, we'll call it an electrical charge from happening, which is kind of what happens. That's why it fluffs up and it'll stick to the sides, and it's just a little bit of electricity in powdered milk. It happens. And if you make it yourself, you could pour your milk into your freeze dryer. It's still going to do the exact same thing. Now, I do not use the skimmed powdered milk. I like full fat. Everybody's different, but it works with any, okay? So you don't have to worry about that. Sugar, I wouldn't dilute it, okay? There's a reason you get the right consistency with this particular recipe, and so that's why I do it this way. But to get on with it, so we start with 1 cup of sugar, and now I'm using a 1/2 cup measure, okay, for my powdered milk. So this is going to be 2 cups total, so that's 1/2, 1, 1/2, and 2. So what I'm going to do is, on top of that, I'm going to add another cup of sugar. So that's 2 cups of each. 2 cups sugar, 2 cups of your powdered milk. Okay? And now, what we want to do is, we're going to put the lid on this. This is loud, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll show you it first with the water. I'm going to slowly drizzle in my water. So I apologize for the noise. It's part of it. We're going to start out just on low, okay? And then once I get all of my water in, I increase my speed to 3 on my machine. I maintain 3 for 4.5 minutes. So, well, unless I'm at 1 minute when I finally get all my water poured in, it's 4.5 total minutes. And then I have a nice consistency with a really nice creamy sweetened condensed milk that I can use for anything I want. Now, before shrinkflation, 1 can of sweetened condensed was 1 1/4 cup, okay? Now, for those of you that want other things, remember, it takes 4 tablespoons to make 1/4 cup. It takes 8 tablespoons for 1/2 cup, 16 for a cup, okay? So, there you go. All right, so we're going to turn this on just so you can see me pour the water in, okay? You do not pour it all in at once. So we'll be back. This will all come together. Okay, so 4.5 minutes later, I think you can see, but we're going to move this over. I will bring in a jar. I've got both of these here. I'll be making my 2 quarts today. Mondays are always kind of a busy day because I have a lot going on. Getting things ready for the week. And then, excuse me, I'm going to scrape this down as you always see, so this will be in your way. I do apologize. So I make this every week, whether you want to make ice cream, you want to make like hot fudge sauce. Wait, I can't remember. Anyway, ice cream, I think caramel. I use it for coffee creamer too. I've done a video on that. Anyway, so there's your sweetened condensed. Now I'm going to put a coffee filter on this with a rubber band, or a hair tie as I call them. But these have never touched my hair. I use them only for this. So I just put this on there because it's nice and hot. I don't want extra moisture to get into my jar. So I'll leave these sitting on the counter until they've cooled off to room temperature, at which point I will put these in the refrigerator. You can use this for anything that calls for sweetened condensed. So if your recipe calls for 1 can, that's 1 1/4 cup. Like I said, shrinkflation, I think now it's like a cup and a tablespoon, or a cup and 2 tablespoons. You're not getting that 4th cup anymore. But this way you can. And by adding the 1 cup of water to the 2 cups of your powdered milk, you're creating a condensed milk. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. And I've redone this because I did go back and watch that first video. It was my first video. You know, they say you absolutely hate your first 10. I don't know that I hate my first 10, and I don't hate my videos. I just noticed that you probably couldn't see everything quite as well as I wanted you to. So hopefully this has helped. It's a little after 7 here in the morning, so it's still dark, as you can see. Excuse me. But I'm going to get this done, and then I'm going to go on. I've got to make yogurt today. I've got to make some refried beans. I'll do a video on that later, showing you how to do that. I got to make some shredded Mexican chicken, which I've already done a video on that. So my dinner tonight, it's something that I do. I call it my Mexican shredded chicken bowl. And so I'll do a video on that, showing how to do, or how I make that for dinner. But the shredded chicken is already up, along with the recipe for the spice mix that you need for that chicken. So, you know, if you want to follow along and make tonight's dinner, please go watch those videos, and then of course tonight's video. And hey, if you're interested in your own sweetened condensed milk, I hope you give this a try. I really hope it helps you in your kitchen. I hope you like it, if not love it. And as always, I hope you have yourself a very wonderful day.